Brie, of course, you have to mention different rosters and those kinds of things. But back into the action right off the bat, Steel is going to come in with a headshot alongside Lucas to Immortals. They don't care about your predictions. They're starting quickly into this, and they will have a bomb plant very shortly, but Fallen comes through with 2 USP frags, showing once again why he's touted as one of the best in the business.
Those are pretty crisp and clean, my man. Especially that first one. He's looking for a little bit more here from Heaven. They're dancing around and giving him a couple of chances, but he hasn't hit the mark just yet, but now he drops down. Steel clears him out. A good crossfire with Lucas here towards the headshot angle. That means Taco's all alone in a 1v3, and there's not much for him here. Doesn't have a kid either unless he can pick one up.
Yeah, Fallen gave them some foundations to build off, but unable to capitalize on that. So the opening shenanigans from Steel and the bomb plant were more than enough to deal with SK on this occasion, but they will be coming straight back in with a force.
Just a straight up rush B. I mean, there's really not much more to say than that, and they got both the entries, so really well done. Fallen tried to reel it back in, but not quite enough. And again, Cash, this is now home turf for SK. It's like one of the craziest map pool shifts I've ever seen. It went from being a permaban to being one of their worst maps when they started banning Nuke, to now one of their best maps alongside Cobble and Mirage. They've only lost it once offline. They've won it 8 times. Like, the Phelps-Ferg combination's been so big for them on this map, particularly on the T side, but now here on their CT side, Immortals are actually starting off on top as they are trying to get a little bit of mid-control here once again. Immortals really a mid-focused team on this map. They love to take it at different speeds almost every single round, and this one will be no exception as KNG's up top. Lucas already finds the first kill as well on a B push from Phelps.
Fallen has already claimed a kill with his scout and is still very much alive and kicking on the battlefield, as he'll be looking to peer out of connector. Thinks better of it. There is no one else on B. It's going to be more of an A stack from SK Gaming. So everyone barring Fallen is there, close range with their CZs. Very potent weapon at close range. Immortals in the meanwhile have plenty of utility, including a Molotov 2 in the hands of Steel, so they could maybe cordon off one of these areas before they decide to push. But it certainly seems like we are going to have some action on A very shortly. Coldzera, close. Can hear the bounces off the smokes going around him. KNG has spotted himself a wild taco. Will eat him alive. KNG is going to go with another one. And although Furs came back with a CZ frag, he's now been very much compromised, and he tries to whip his knife out for a bit of cheekiness. I think he ran out of CZ bullets anyway.
Right.
And Immortals will pick up a 2-0.
Yeah, so they weathered the storm of some type of force buy situation. KNG just being big up middle, particularly up highway there. Good work across the board from Immortals, getting a good start in the game. As this, of course, will be basically a full save from SK, save for a P250 on Fallen. Only money invested into this one, so you'd expect this to go in Immortals' favor with little trouble. They even had those MAC 10s out in play just to farm that extra cash. The cheapest SMG they can get. Though it will be Lucas who opens up first. Gets that headshot on the Fallen, so once again, mid-control taken by Immortals. To lean over towards highway now, and now they're just ripping in the CT spawn. They're just going for frags. I mean, really, there's not too much in this round.
Yeah, there's really nothing to get excited about here. This is as much of a slaughter as you'd expect. As good as SKR, there's only so much you can do with USPs when you have 2 MAC-10s and assault rifles in very capable hands. And it will be a clean sweep. Immortals not losing a single player. 2 for Lucas, everyone else with 1, of course, barring Henny. But a solid start by Immortals, and again, showing us that this might not be quite as one-sided as many people would anticipate.
Yeah, still not a big buyout of SK Gaming in this round. They have 2 guys on FAMAS. There's no ops in play. I mean, so money is really, really low. They weren't getting a whole lot out of those rounds to be able to afford a huge purchase. And Immortals will actually keep onto those 2 MAC-10s, and they'll keep up the speed. As Bolts is going to be out middle already to Vince. They're actually doing a boost into Vince, but his Molotov is going to chase him back out into checkers again, even doing a lot of damage to Coldzera as well. Meanwhile, they're doing a full-out A rush out of main. It was a retake A setup from Immortals for the most part to fight against, and so SK is basically folded in this round as well, unless they can make this retake work. They have a little bit of utility. They do have 1 kid on Fallen.
Well, that's by and large it, and they only have Phelps, who is going to be trying to move his way around the back, and Henny is 1 step ahead. That now forces their retake into very much one-dimensional shape. And they're not interested anymore, but Bolt's on the prowl. MAC-10 in hand. And I love that he's playing this more passive than going for the peak, and he should get the drop onto Fallen, who's still very much locked into position. Up on the boxes, he will fall. And judging from his position, they're going to guess that someone's in heaven. That is the correct decision. This could be a total collapse by SK if they lose any more players, but they're going to hold on to 2. And that could give them something to work with. I mean, they're all around $3,000. Do they go for the Force?
Seems like I saw someone get a UMP, so yeah, it looks like they are going to go heavy-handed into this, or at least somewhat. A scout as well in Fallen's hands. Probably one of the most dangerous scouts in CSGO, if we're honest. Whether it's getting the headshot frag or softening them up for one of his players to finish the job. And it's going to be Henny coming out here fast with the AWP. Gonna get smoked off, not going to find anything. But Bolt picks up on Phelps. Again, Phelps' aggression at B has been matched by Immortals very well so far this game. They've caught him twice trying to push out the lobby.
This is off the back of SK forcing into this round. They have gone all in on this. Immortals are in great shape already in early doors of cash. No kits, just a couple of flashes with the smoke. That's all SK have in their possession.
Just a slower mid-control this time for Immortals, but again, they're so mid-centric. They're going to take it eventually. It's going to be KNG to lead it with the M4. Making sure to check all their angles with utility. Make sure to leave no stone unturned. Don't want anybody to blindside them to even it back up. They want to maintain their advantage as they do work out into mid. So the mid-B split through fence is real. Fallen gets caught with that scout out in middle by Steel, so now the odds even more stacked against SK. So Immortals plunge to the B-bomb site here.
Coldzera. A phenomenal talent. Is he going to be up to the task as they line up for him and he goes to the double spray? Immortals are not getting the avenging frag either. This has quickly turned into SK Gaming's round. The bomb also not under control. KNG has been dinked down to 14 and gets finished off, and Coldzera's on a tear. He could be on for the ace. He's going to run out of bullets, whips to his USP, lands a headshot. Coldzera coming up clutch.
It's only fitting it's Coldzera, of course, saving the round for his team. A big individual effort there inside that B bomb site. What a masterclass play from him. That round looked all Immortals. They had all the map control. They had the man advantage. And then Cole just doesn't care. Lines up the double spray down there and then just finishes it off. What a play from him. Big individual effort. That gets SK their first round. And it's Immortals straight to the double AWP setup. This is the new thing that KNG has brought to this team, is the fact that just like G2, they will regularly go to double op on T side. Not a lot of teams do that. Immortals now one of them. And that means they'll probably slow things up, slow things down rather, and give a chance for those AWPs to go to work. But we already see a lot of damage being dealt here to Steal the Squeaky Door thanks to the spam of Taco. And Fur has taken control of A main, but Bulls gets a sick timing on Fallen at middle.
It's collapsing again for SK. They need another hero. Coldzera still alive, but he got the majority of his work done in a very stationary position, just let his aim go to town. This time he has to retake. It's a completely different ball game. Lucas, patience nearly proving to be a virtue. But that warning shot may be enough just to force the two CTs away. Models will have another one in SK. They now have to face the very real possibility that their economy sucks again.
Oh yeah, they just got a hard reset after this victory from Immortals. They'll save onto the WP and FAMAS. And it's looking really scary for SK, because short of an ace from Coldzera, they don't really have a whole lot going for him in this game. I mean, Immortals have been on a tear. Lucas and KNG, some of the usual suspects on this team now for putting up big numbers, certainly there. Steel and Bolt's not too far behind. And they'll keep that double AWP setup in play. And so we'll probably continue to see them still keep it slow, look for picks over on B side, middle, you know, A main door. They're going to, move those two around, just try to see if they can find picks. Again, that's like one of the biggest changes that Immortals has made with KNG coming in, is just adding that to their playbook as like a huge tool that they can use. It can be burdensome, it can hurt your economy a bit, but it's not going to affect Immortals right now, given that SK are the ones that are in the dumps when it comes to cash.
They sure are, and they're going for another force. And the one round that SK picked up came off the back of a miracle play from Coldzera. Another day, Immortals are 6-0 up in prime position. Gonna switch out weapons. Phelps now occupying with the UMP as he has been dropped to 28. More expendable weapon in his hands.
Just Immortals keeping it slow as expected since they have this double op set up. Henny actually watching highway box from mid. KNG up top watching CT. They may have an idea that one of these guys is sandbags. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a Molotov come out that direction or onto Phelps. Usually Immortals use their Molotovs to clear out this particular spot as well as sandbags, so I don't know that Phelps will be able to ninja, but we'll see. Maybe this time around they decide not to. Not going to be the case, of course, but Phelps still gets out.
That in itself is quite an escape. Expected him to fall down. And he's been flashed out of position. Will turn tail and run back towards the A side where the bomb is currently residing.
So full-on A execute seems to be on its way for Immortals. You do see them gathering up. They might do one late highway off the mid boost, but certainly the focus here is crunching this A site with your typical utility as the flashes begin to pour in.
Bolt taking point. Going to be the first man in. Maybe the first man to fall, but no, he actually takes down the kill of the weakened Fur. Out comes Taco into the open. Will be laid to rest. And well, it should be mentioned that SK do have a player advantage now. They're actually in the driver's seat. Sure, there's an AWP in the hands of KNG, who is such a threat with this weapon, and they may be able to get a bomb planted. They'll be boosting up. That's going to put the pressure onto SK Gaming's shoulders as they look to try and carve out a retake. Lucas with one, KNG with another one, and Phelps is going to go down. The first player to get tagged is the last to fall. Immortals done it again. SK Gaming, one of the best teams in the world, are being schooled by their Brazilian brothers.
Yeah, KNG went to work with the AWP on a squeaky door there. He had plenty of kills on that round. Just great work from him, the new guy to the team. A lot of people were talking this guy up from the Brazilian scene. Even Fallen himself had mentioned that this guy was the next big AWP player to keep an eye out on. He's also shown at times to be able to rifle quite well, as Henny is still on this team as the primary.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's great to see him molding in and gelling very well with this team as they have SK again on a very low buy situation. Henny gonna draw first blood there up highway. Almost does one better, but Fur will back up.
That looked close, didn't it? Kind of surprised he didn't get the kill at first, but again, SK Gaming, they're into pistols. It definitely does make for an interesting conundrum on the side of Immortals. When you have two players that are this good with an AWP, that double AWP setup is so potent, so powerful, and you expect to see it on the CT side when things switch across. SK Gaming do manage to pull a player back, courtesy of Phelps and his deagle. He's maybe going to see more action in vents as Henny is currently there. Going to be flashing his way across, but not peeking behind it. 50 seconds. Now Phelps could really put a spanner in the works from his position if he's able to get a kill. Won't be happening this time around. Two players still over on the B side, one of which is the man, the myth, with a Cold Zera, but not able to get a kill so far. There we go into Lucas, who peeks one too many times, and Cold Zera, who is quite an animal with the deagle, is in position to maybe make this strike, and they're going to be having two flanks coming into fruition right now as Henny goes in and lands the shot onto Taco. Cold Zera has the bomb in front of him, but he also has Henny's AWP to contend with, who picks up a 4K. But that was way too close for comfort, considering that SK had very little investment into the round.
Yeah, it wasn't clean, but the job still got done in the end, I guess. They're now up 7-1. One of the few times the Brazilians happy to see that score. Memes.
Well, I guess
can't be avoided.
One Brazilian's happy, another not. Even when they're winning, they're losing. Feels bad, man.
As we are going to see Immortals putting a little bit of a heavier presence over towards the B side. One of the AWPs is going to be there. In fact, they only have a solo AWP this time. They didn't reinvest to get the second one again. It's just going to be Henny. And that's what's great about KNG. I feel like he fits more than FNX in a way, because FNX was kind of more of a passive force, more of a late round player, replacing Phelps, who was more of an aggressive guy, and KNG is that aggressive guy, so he almost gels better in the system that they have, in the roles they have created. As Lucas, as the entry man, gonna find the opening kill here onto Phelps, the former teammate, of course, as they will pour into B once more with a huge advantage.
Cold Zera forever the threat, this time checkered box. Here's his position for ambush. Again though, sure, he's got a kill, but his players are nowhere to be seen. He's effectively by his lonesome at this stage, especially now that Fallen's dropped in mid. Cold Zera's the next to fall and leaves it on Taco. UMP in hand.
Wow. This is definitely not the expected start. I don't know that I've ever seen Immortals have a start like this on SK in an offline environment. And wouldn't that be something, you know, not only to beat SK for the first time offline ever, obviously different lineups, of course, but to do it in such dominant fashion would just be icing on the cake, it feels like. Obviously, we're not there yet, but this is certainly some great step forwards in that direction for Immortals. as they are again going to have SK on a very little buy, just 3 deagles and the armor on Taco with USP. Oh, he picks up a deagle as well. Okay, I was about to say, it's kind of weird. He would just go head armor and stay on a USP, but he just pick up the deagle. So a chance for 9 now with the low buy. Lucas already doing a little bit of chip damage.
As you highlighted, though, it's still fairly early days. But SK, although it's early days, they're going to have to start converting some of these rounds, otherwise it will get out of control. There's Fallen with a 1D onto Lucas. Still player advantage before falls upon Immortals. That's a tasty one-tap as well. KNG, what a performance
this guy's the truth. So he's doing it all. Rifles, AWP. I mean, obviously he's up against his pistols, but the shots are still crisp. And like I said, I think he just gels a little bit better with that aggressive tempo to him, as this should be a 9th round for Immortals now. Bomb going down. Not much Cold can do, but look for exits here with the P250. Just get the headshot on the steal.
Not able to get the weapon, though, which is going to be bitterly disappointing. I'm sure he was hoping for an exit frag. 9-1. Who would have thought this would be the start? With SK on the CT side of Cash, of all things, as well. They're going to go for a double up themselves. coldzera's going to pick up his second. And here's that one tap we were talking about.
Again, you can't stress like how crazy this would be. Not only has Immortals never beat SK offline before, not only has SK beat them 14 out of 17 times they played against each other in total, if you include online play in it, but then they're going to do it on Cash, perhaps, which is right now one of the top 3 maps for SK Gaming. 8-1 record offline. They made a huge transition to being strong on this map when Phelps came on board. And I mean, Immortals right now are just bullying them across the map. We do have the double AWP out now for SK Gaming. And they do have the opening pick here. Cold does take down Bolts over on the B side of the map.
Solid work, though. Molly into AWP. Taco, can't blame his decision. I'd much rather be shot than burn alive, that's for sure. You've got to feel this is a vitally important round for SK Gaming. They want to hold into this, and KNG, he's managed to get himself through there, and Foot will be going down to his hands looking for a second one as well. He just walked straight out onto the site, and no one from SK could stop him. The bomb will be getting planted momentarily, although it is lagging behind a little bit in the hands of Lucas, but now he's going to go for the plant. 3-on-3, another retake. This is where the double ops could sting for SK Gaming. Not the best of weapons to retake, but they do have a Molotov in the hands of Phelps, though. And if that's put down correctly, it could cause some issues, but he's the first to fall in this 3-on-3 encounter, which is one step further for Immortals to getting double digits already on this map. KNG with yet another one. Fallen, we know how great of a player he is. He's going to manage to get himself through towards the site, but Lucas is having none of it. 10-1.
Yeah, Immortals are not messing around, despite the fact they suffered the opening fit from coldzera's AWP at the B bomb site. The response over at A was rapid and successful. KNG sneaking around, getting behind Fur, basically, as well as an op pick from Henny changes everything. KNG up to 18 kills. As that sound cue from Metis was brought to you by one of our sponsors and Monster. Probably one of the best ways we can plug it.
I am
so good.
Struggling right now. I need as much fluids in me as possible. Out of context, of course. And there is the
top kick.
A miss from Henny.
Yeah, again, this is another round where SK don't have a whole lot going into it. Again, just surgical taking of middle here, making sure everything's checked, everything's cleared out. As once again, KNG is the guy just leading the way.
I mean, he's having a storming performance. He's 18-4. And I feel like his first half performance earlier against Gambit, he finished the half of 20.
That was awkward. Fallen just running through with his knife swinging around. KNG free kill.
Who would have known?
As he gets in the CT spawn.
AK beats knife at range. Today I learned. Unfortunate, but as it stands, coldzera is going to be putting down Lucas before he inevitably falls to Henny. Makes an avenging kill for his fallen brother. Fur and Taco. Last 2 remaining SK players. Not for long. Immortals. I mean, whatever happens, they are going to have a commanding lead going through into that second half.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting to a point now where SK must win out, and they really need that pistol in the second half. I mean, it's not like Immortals are going to lighten up whenever they switch sides. They can certainly be quite good on the CT side as well. They can keep that double op if they ever even get to it. They may not ever have to have that come out now. I mean, SK, again, I've never really seen them handled like this on Cash with this 5. That they've been so sharp on it. And again, they've never really had trouble with Immortals, not like this. I mean, you can just almost see the frustration in their faces when we go on to them. Like, I've seen Cold certainly kind of shaking his head. This definitely, in their eyes, should not be happening.
I mean, against Singularity, they had an interesting first half where a lot of people would have felt Singularity would have got completely bodied, but it ended up 8-7. But after that, it was the SK show. They started to chime together, started to finish off what we expected them to. But here, they're leaving themselves in a very real potential that even if their second half is solid, they may just have not enough rounds to do anything with it. They're going to be digging deep, though. Desperate times call for desperate measures. It's a triple up on the CT side. They've put everything into this.
Yeah, this is very interesting stuff. I mean, they actually just want one at middle and one in each site. They just want to be able to take far-range fights and be able to win them. As Fallen will be the one to take it to middle, but we're seeing Immortals setting up for some set smokes on the A bomb site with 3 of their players, 2 towards B. I think this is going to be a really sick fake from Immortals. Like, something just tells me that hurts, though, 'cause that's some of the utility that they wanted to spin on the B bomb site gone already. But you could tell that's what they're setting up for. There's 3 tweaky door. Oh, Fur lines them up, though.
Oh, could have been a massacre. Could still very well be a massacre. And Fur with 3. Sure, they lined up, but you still got to get that spray control on point. And that's just what the Doctor ordered. Ironically enough, the AWPs haven't really been that impactful. Just Cold Zera's bagged himself a kill. Now, Bolts trying to do as much damage as possible. Because they did put everything into this round, if he can just get another kill or 2, that could in itself be somewhat of a mini victory for Immortals. Also, a correction, I said that Immortals beat Gambit earlier. Of course, it was Mouse that they played against, not Gambit. But yeah, Bolt's surely a dead man as soon as he comes around the corner, and Cold Zera will pick up a second.
It's a solid pineapple. I like me some pineapple here and there. I mean, this round really kind of fell apart with that one AWP pick. I'm telling you, like, if that doesn't happen, Immortals are probably throwing a lot of utility on the B bomb site. Those 2 players sunroom. You're probably seeing smokes in CT. You're probably seeing mollies on the B bomb site. And because SK are so on edge, oh wait a second, just a second too early, maybe half a second too early, trying to go for that. The body bang does not work out. But yeah, Immortals just got, you know, thwarted by getting interrupted, trying to do a fake. And everything kind of fell apart at that point when the initial plan faltered. They didn't really have the adjustment they needed. Then they just got caught out by Fur trying to come out the door. So that's the second round for SK, but can they keep it up? They're keeping the triple op out there. I mean, I might as well, I suppose, if you've put all the money into it, but there's one of them already out.
That's a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Phelps. He's just going to try and wait a while longer, but a double Molotov comes into play, which forces him out of vents, allowing Bolts now and KNG to force their way through. Fur is good for 1 kill. Fallen will bag himself 1 onto Henny. This is looking better for SK Gaming. And now Immortals are pushing their way into a stacked site of CTs. Phelps alongside Fur, and now Fallen, who's making a move around the back towards Heaven. He actually thinks second of that, though. Gonna come in a little bit later. But now that the engagement has started, he's going to be moving into Heaven. As Lucas will miss his opportunity, that could be the last shot he fires off in this round. Not quite, but now Fur's able to get the spray into effect. And the star player of KNG is down. Alongside Fur, though, gets plucked out of midair. There's still 20 seconds in which Lucas can maybe carve out a masterpiece of a clutch here.
Yes, that's going to be able to get the bomb plant. No if and buts about that, as we'll put the smoke down as well for a little bit of extra cover. He actually fakes it, trying to hope he can pull out a free frag, and he actually does. Fallen chimes in, so he gets it into a 1v1. He's running out of time to plant, though. Now he has to commit to the plant this time. He's going to get tagged by Taco with the AWP. And so another round does go to SK here. Finally, at the end, they're starting to put some points on the board. They're starting to win some of those initial duels, which they weren't before, and that's made the world of difference for them.
Maybe 4 rounds would be enough. Still me asking a lot, but it's a whole lot better than the alternative was looking for quite some time. That's of course if they can pick this round up. Immortals still come through with a solid purchase. And it's actually Henny who drops the AWP this time to KNG.
Yep, they will do that sometimes.
Yep.
It kind of swaps around, almost similar to the Kusta Ricky situation, just depending on spawn or what they want to do in that particular round. KNG will sometimes take it over Henny. Opening pick, though, does go to SK this round. Taco is going to be the one to deliver it, as he still has his op posted up on the A-bomb site.
Oh, that flashbang perfectly allowing KNG to maneuver his way through. And now he actually has the positional advantage over Taco, who's forced to use some utility. KNG going to be throwing in the nade. Chunks Taco down to 35. The CTs are okay with this for the time being. They still have the player advantage. With the smokes in A main, it is stopping Immortals from pushing through themselves. Ball's going to go through for an entry. Not going to happen. Furt swats him away. And now Immortals, they're in dire straits. They're pretty much just going to be forced into trying to get a pick onto the site, and Taco is going to fall down. Flashbang alongside Molly, trying to draw out some of those areas on the likes of the forklift. Now Fur will come back with another one. It has been very much a prolonged engagement with Immortals, not really fully committing to this, and while the strength in numbers approach will come out ahead, I'd also like to highlight that coldzera, even though his team went 14 and 11, he finishes with 15 kills. That's really impressive fragging.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's just no one really else there beside him. Phelps had a really tough half, so did Fallen. Really no one was firing on all cylinders for SK outside of Cold, doing pretty decent. Meanwhile, Immortals, they were playing great Counter-Strike. It wasn't like they were relying on individual plays like SK were early on to get rounds. They were just playing like really disciplined Counter-Strike, playing off each other very well, controlling mid properly, using their utility efficiently. I mean, it was definitely great stuff for them. They kind of crumbled there towards the end, but they already had the big lead at that point. They could afford a couple of mistakes. And if they can win this pistol round second half, they'll have, you know, just such a great position to go ahead and close. SK really need that to go ahead and start creeping back into this game, because they're still certainly far off from posing Immortals a threat, but at least you started to see them kind of wake up a bit there towards the end. So if you're an SK fan, that's certainly good news. Hopefully we'll have a more challenging second half.
So if you're now going through on Immortals on the CT side, obviously you watch these guys a lot. I know that you've casted them a whole bunch in the past. What are you expecting from the CT side? Is this their stronger half, or would you say they've already gone through that on the T half?
It's so hard to know because they haven't played it all that much with KNG on the team as far as like what the side bias is for them. Only played it like, you know, 3 times offline. This will be their 4th time. But the double op setup still certainly going to be something you're going to see on the CT side. If they ever have to get to that point, you know, if they get the money and if they feel like they need to do it, if they don't just like win it really early off rifles. But then they have a lot of different setups on aggressive mid and different things like that. But right now we have KNG getting aggressive at B's. Found one, does find the bomb as well. So that's just the headshots coming out there. So another KNG not messing around. Is he just going to finish it off? Not quite. Does finally get clear, but after just doing a massive amount of damage.
And those were handy one-taps as well. I mean, that was pixel perfect aim. As you highlighted, though, hasn't quite finished off this round. SK, although they're on the brunt of a battering with all 3 kills going the way of KNG, they still only have a 1-player deficit, and Phelps on the cross is able to land the one-tap with the USP. Bolt now comes through and finds himself 2 adversaries, and that's 1 too many as far as he's concerned, leaving Lucas with the arduous task of retaking the site. KNG will be rolling his eyes, I'm sure. Guys, I got you the opening 3 picks. What more can I do?
There really wasn't much more he could do. I think the SK just played that really well to double up on that Vince rotation like that, rather than like splitting up and one trying to plant and all that good stuff. Like they really handled it as best they could. And now, yeah, Lucas is in a really tough spot. He's got armor and a USP, but no kit. He might be able to pick one up. I think there's one right there. Yeah, so that'll give him a little bit more time. He has a smoke as well, but he has to hit some really nice shots here.
That's a first. And now Taco at the back of the site. You see Lucas doesn't really know where the last player is. He's checking every angle possible, going to pull out his smoke, and Taco is able to use the USP against the CTs. Too close for comfort. But SK have picked up the second pistol, and that was one of their ways back into this.
Certainly. I mean, it didn't look good at first. KNG was doing big things over here outside B. But in the end, a great recovery from SK. Immortals couldn't close the round, so now it's 5 for SK Gaming. And we'll go ahead and buy up SMGs on 4 of their players, including 3 of them being UMPs. Taco on the solo AK. You have pistol armor out here for Immortals. Lucas looking to take opening picks with the Deagle at B. He's going to get run down, baiting into steals. CZ, and together they will take out one. And that will slow SK down, who are still looking to do this split, though, as Phelps will be coming checkers through the vents, but he gets caught by KNG, who will pick up that UMP, and now all of a sudden this round is turned on its head.
I mean, Fur was baited like a kipper there, going through into the site, totally wrecked and neutralized. Steel is looking for a second, not going to happen. Fallen is going to put his UMP to use. Looking good for a few moments, but now SK have regained the momentum, regained the power into this. Coldzera is down to 4, but that's not going to be a concern because SK have mopped up the rest of Immortals. That did look a bit sketchy, though, for a few seconds.
Yeah.
So even though SK are getting these rounds, it's not clear-cut.
No, it's been a grind to put these rounds through. Immortals has definitely been very challenging. They're probably upset they haven't come up with these. In both those rounds, they had great chances to take it instead of SK. They just couldn't do it. And so now they have to kind of concede, so to speak. They're just going to be on USPs and a couple of P250s. This should be a 7th round for SK, no problem. And now they're really starting to close the gap in a big way against Immortals.
P250s, really the only thing the models have to use. One in the hands of the 24 and 10 KNG. Is he going to move to 25 in this excursion? Yes, he will. Retaining 74 health. Not a bad little trade, but he has fallen. And now Bolts and his USP very lonely over on the A side of the map. SK Gaming will pick up a 7th round. The models will be back into a rifle round of their own. An important rifle round at that. SK now breathing down their necks.
Yeah, on Cash, SK has really come back to their roots of the system of, you know, playing these methodical defaults as the foundation and throwing in pacing changes here and there. This is one of the maps where, like, the Fur Phelps entry combo can be so huge, right? Because you typically have Taco playing door and Cold B and Fallen floating with the op, and so it really is like the pairing of Phelps and Fur to control middle or to take entries at A or just whatever. And that 1-2 punch can be so powerful if they're on form. And it is straight to the double AWP on the Immortal side. No real surprise there. They like to rely on it as much as they can afford. But SK, they're going for something early here on the A side.
And the thing is with this as well, Dust, you go in for 2 AWPs, you leave yourself such little utility. No kits. You are going all off on these AWPs, picking up kills and having impactful moments in this round. If they don't, SK Gaming are right back into this. And here we go. The utility is going to start to land. Are these AWPs going to yield anything? KNG at the back of the site, good for 1. Is there going to be a second one to connect onto? Is he able to get this round going for his team? Misses his second opportunity and his third. That will cost him his own life. As Bolts comes through with some spray, it's going to do negligible damage to the likes of Phelps, who's still able to get across to the site and get the plant down. But it's a 3-on-3, and this is where the lack of utility, the lack of kits is going to sting so bad for Immortals. Flashbang on point 2. Fallen's able to peek round and get himself a kill. Taco onto the very raw peak. Doesn't actually land the frag, and Steel from range is going to dome Coldzera with the M4. This is now in the realms of possibility, but Fallen in A main doesn't have to worry about any fast defuse. They're going to hold on to this one. It's going to be the full 10 seconds potentially. Fallen's going to go for the peek. He jumps across and then he lands in. Immortals are pulled off the clutch. And SK Gaming have just been slapped across the face. 5-round deficit comes back into play.
That's a big round to win on that retake. Like you said, the odds were stacked against them given they were having to do it with an AWP and no kit, no utility, no way to flush people out of position. They had to just rely on being able to brute force their way in with frags. Steel has a big one through highway. And they roll out into a 12th round. They have to avoid the reset, though. That is the real big worry for them because SK are still fully stacked. They, in fact, had the better buy in this round. And again, they're coming off of the usual, the norm for them, and they're looking for a fast A attack once more.
Bolt's trying to dispatch with the UMP. Tailor-made for these kind of scenarios, but down he goes. Only 25 bullets, of course. Needed a few more. Again, SK have got the picks. They've got control of the site, but a Steel appears in A main, and Phelps will be swept aside. The Molotov not quite deep enough to actually stop this peak from Steel. And he will be returning the Fable, one of his own. Not able to get the train onto Coldzera, which is a key moment in this round, you have to feel. Are SK going to let another round slip? No. They're right back into winning ways, and the economy now has been taken from under the feet of Immortals.
Yeah, again, that was the big concern, was to not get reset, and they do, and this gives SK a lot of life now in this game. Again, kind of coming off of what's standard and just going for something a little bit different. Usually they do stuff like that as pacing changes, but this has been their main focus, to just get in Immortals' face, and they smelt blood in the water with the money, and they wanted to attack it, and they are going to reap the benefits now. And at this point, they will start going into what is more default for them. Fur and Phelps working in control together with Fallen. As Fur has already made his way close to the highway box here.
Thus, the Immortals have gone for an all-in buy in this round.
It's true.
They have got no funds left. They are rolling the dice.
Well, I guess you figure you're going to get... Like, this is normally a situation in the old days where you would have to double save. So I guess you figure you might as well load up in this round. If you lose, okay. Yep. Next round, you take a full save.
And of course, in the longer stretch, it means that they'll have to full-on save. I'll probably get a couple of AWPs again. Or at least one, you'd have to feel. I mean, why the hell wouldn't you give KNG an AWP at this stage, the way he's been playing? As you highlighted, he's just as good with the assault rifle. That being said, this round hasn't met its conclusion just yet. Just shy of 50 seconds left. And SK starting to push into A main again. Nobody in mid for Immortals. 3 on A, 2 on B. Fallen is going to try and run some interference over on the B side, hoping to draw one of these defenders out of position and not budging an inch. They've got into boost. KNG is such a solid player that you expect him to do mad things from this position, but he's only going to get one. Henny, in the meanwhile, with the 5-7, though, is rattling rounds down range, and he is landing into the chest of Phelps, is looking for a second one, but he is very much isolated all by his lonesome. Any more kills from this would be a fantastic effort from his perspective. He's trying to eat up as much time as possible to allow Steel and Lucas to get themselves into position, and Steel's going to do just that, but it's at the cost of so much of his health. He's only got 19 left. He's dispatched off, and now Lucas 1 on 2. Fortunate to start off with. The tackle didn't have more bullets in his magazine, but Fallen will take him down, 12-9.
So that big lead has all but been eradicated at this point. It's just a few away now for SK to tie this thing up. And so Immortals, they need to act fast. They've done such great work. And now all of a sudden, they might be faltering here at the finish line, as they do have to take a full save in this round. So you'd expect SK to reach double digits at this point, as they will be going for a very fast mid-take. For already out into the vents. Spots one at highway, gonna chase them down with that MAC-10. Phelps will actually finish them with the fire instead.
So to put this in context, as you expect this to be a slaughter of a round, at one stage, Immortals, if you just joined us, were winning 11-1 on that first half. SK will still be trailing, of course, after this meets its climax, but this has been one hell of a turnaround so far. coldzera stacking up the money with his MAC-10. Immortals, what is their buy going to look like? They can go for AWPs, but it would be glass cannon. I'm very curious to see what kind of a buy we're going to see from them here, but they are going to leave us in a bit of suspense as they're going to call the pause.
I think they wanted to figure out if, in fact, they want to do what you're talking about, or if they want to make sure that they have the utility, they want to make sure that they have the armor and all that good stuff, just like have a better all-around buy, as opposed to just like making sure they have snipers on the board. They could really go either way. This is a team that really does like running double AWP on both sides of the map, so I could see why they would want to, stick with that, as that's kind of, their comfort zone. But you got to think about the long term. You got to think about the economic impact, especially in a situation like this where SK are really kind of breathing down your necks now, as we already have seen Henny pick up his AWP. It is going to be a rifle for KNG. And I mean, I'm trying to figure out what Immortals wants to do here. I mean, they've seen a lot of different looks from SK already. They've seen faster place play. They've seen default. I mean, some of the things Immortals do like to do is you can see them get more aggressive. Sometimes I see them run like 1-3-1 setups and try to contest mid directly. So I'm not sure if that's in the cards or if they're just going to try to play it standard and hope for the best. They're actually going to play their retake A setup. With just one guy playing truck. This is another thing they actually like to do a lot, is play retake A even on a gun round. The problem is, if you give up the A bomb site, you don't have that much utility, but luckily for them, it's not going to be the case, because it's going to be a full-out B rush, and they're well prepared for it.
Phelps with the only kill that's going to be in returning, and it's like Immortals just read the playbook of SK to perfection. KNG from behind with a very fast flank. coldzera will not allow him a second for his troubles. coldzera the weight of this round on his shoulders. Is he going to buckle? Molly, left side of sight, no one's there. Has been a position that Immortals have used quite a few times. Steel in particular has been there with a CZ. We saw him get a couple of cheeky frags earlier, so understandable why coldzera would go for that position. He has another Molotov. Back at the site, this one is going to be a hit. And it's going to burn Steel out of position. coldzera's already picked up one stick clutch and an ace. He could be on for a clutch 4K in this one. Loads of time to burn as well. But he could get double peaked if he comes round the corner, and Henny is there. 13 to 10 now. And that's one hell of a call, by the way, to go for that B play.
Like the most insane rock, paper, scissors ever right there, just to play a little bit more presence towards middle and Bs, which means you have a fast rotate to B through vents. And just playing retake A with no utility, by the way, really. So an A hit would have been devastating, you feel like.
Yeah.
Yet it works out in their favor because SK does rush B into it. Now it is going to be Immortals with the WWP set up.
Henny glass cannon, though. KNG did have the opportunity to go for an AWP in the last one, but instead went for the M4 and the extra utility. This time it makes a lot more sense. He can afford to get the Kevlar and the full nade stack. Mid control, though, has been taken. SK already have 2 players out there.
Indeed they do. They've pulled coldzera off of B, though, already, so it seems like they don't... I mean, he's kind of coming back towards T-spawn to get a look at B from far back. So, again, this kind of a passive, more like slow default from them, which is kind of their standard nowadays on Cash, as they had the bomb carrier, actually, and Taco still playing his normal spot over here towards Squeaky Hall. And they're actually coming back off of middle after taking it. So they must have like some set execute in mind to basically take mid control and then give it up. With the bomb tucked in the door, you know it has to be A. There's really no other way to go with this. They do have Fallen coming late up highway with AWP, but they're just looking to smash into A. But there is a player playing aggressively. It is going to be Bolt, who could really thwart all of this if he doesn't get checked in lockers. It's a heavy squeaky door setup as well.
And time is starting to run scarce. 35 seconds left. 2-1 Squeaky again. G gets tagged down at 20. Bolt is going to try and strike now from the lockers, but he gets checked. Player advantage for the CT side. Bomb planted, however, which is going to even things up nicely. This pressure cooker getting to a pretty tasty place now. There are 2 kits but no grenades remaining for Immortals. And that Molotov is perfection. It stops anyone pushing from this side. It eats up valuable time. It also funnels the CTs into a pretty one-dimensional retake over here on the forklift, but Lucas is going to go in for 2 kills all by his lonesome, and Steel comes through with the last one. Immortals successful retake with 4 players left alive.
Yeah, this is
what
big.
What a retake that is.
They keep the double op. They keep a lot of stuff. That's really good news for them. And you got to think SK's thinking to themselves with the heavy squeaky door play, they just want to try to counter the AWP. Like, don't give them far range fights. Don't give them ways to pick you. Close the distance on them fast and quad and trade out and eliminate that AWP. That's what they went for, but it just didn't really work out the way they wanted to. They got the plant. They couldn't hold off the retake. And so it is going to be KNG in the race with coldzera for the 30 bomb. He may beat him here. He's a couple of frags better. And now SK, I mean, they're just forcing all that they can. Like, they're in desperation mode now. Like, Immortals has put them in check. It's just about whether they can finish it off in the next couple of moves or not.
Locked into position as a result of the molly that lands just behind Phelps. Immortals have played a great map so far, but SK may have a couple more aces up the sleeve. They're veterans. They've been in situations like this before, and they've came out best so many times.
Oh, and he hears that shot. He knows now one is over towards Vince, so he will not be blindsided. He was scoped in, focused on mid-main, and so that could have certainly caught him, but it doesn't. He'll miss his shot as well, as it looks like SK are setting up for a mid-B split. They still do have Taco lurking over towards A, and one player actually putting pressure on Highway, so they're really trying to make sure that rotate can't happen safely for Immortals as they close in, but Steel gets aggressive. He finds 2. Very well done. Finds a 3rd. That is as good as it gets for Steel. Holy cow. That couldn't have gone better, really.
That could be the moment that sees SK take a knee and bow to this. Steel's gonna go in, mate. You've got 3 bullets left. Oh, he's gonna land it into the back of Fallen, who is already weakened. Steel with a 4K. The adrenaline surging through him as he looks to finish off with the ace. Taco desperately wants to hold on for this AK. As you highlighted earlier, they put everything into this round. They need to save the AK-47. And the full nades behind it too. That's a lot of equipment.
Oh yeah, he's got so much on him that they want to have in the next round. There's no doubt about it. I mean, with the 3-round loss bonus, like, yeah, it's not look good.
He wants to get the AWP as well, which is going to be a nice little bit of a boost, but...
What a play from Steel. I mean, I thought he was going to get traded for sure by this second guy coming around the edge of the smoke, but he gets that and then somehow gets the throw on the guy jumping. That is just a great individual effort and kind of a fumble from SK to not be able to trade efficiently there, especially in such a key round. And that could be the last nail in the coffin, so to speak. They'll get what they can in this round, but it's even less than the previous.
So many people will be surprised if Immortals do convert from this position. SK Gaming, most people would feel the favorites to take this entire event.
Yeah, certainly.
On the brink of defeat to their Brazilian brethren. Henny, very close to landing that shot. Will be landing the second one and maybe even the third shot. Indeed he does. 2 huge kills in mid. Gonna give a bit of control to Immortals. But the bomb is wrapping itself through on the A side. Still stuck in Squeaky though. They haven't really made inroads other than in Highway. And that's gonna be for naught. Coldzera's probably not going to be able to do too much from this. He's going to get caught from the side, and it looks like it's going to be a reality. Immortals have done it! Living up to their name, they take down SK Gaming. 16-10, what a huge upset that is.
What a big victory for this team, this core. They've always been seen as the farm team. They've always been seen as the little brother, but here Student beats Master for the first time offline.